All right, welcome to the LongBox Paradox. We are live. We are short a person. Hopefully they're just running late. That would be Dcomicqueen, which this is actually normal. But you have me, your host, Dan, and we have Jennifer, Gin and Comics. And we're going to be doing random talk tonight. So we might dive down some rabbit holes. We might talk about TV shows. We might talk about stuff that has nothing to do with the books that we're talking about. Hey, we might even get into that Game of Thrones talk that we've been putting off.
Oh my goodness, that needs like hours. I've got a lot of feelings, a lot of stuff to decompress with that.
So, did you do a review this week, or are you doing a review this week?
I hadn't. Like, I feel bad because right now, because of everything going on, I don't need to say why. We all know. The elephant in the room. But I actually had a lot of extra time on my hand this week, and I feel like I didn't use it productively. I probably could have done that, but long story, I don't have a new review, but I think that it's probably going to be pretty deadly. The Rat, Volume 3, I just finished it, and every time I read something by Kelly Sue DeConnick, I love it. So.
Weirdly, I'm hit and miss with her, but Pretty Deadly, I loved way more than I liked Bitch Planet.
Yeah.
Bitch Planet, for some reason, maybe it's just, I'm not the right audience for it.
I think that Bitch Planet's one of my favorite ones. It's one of my, I got my non-compliant tattoo. So I really like it, but I definitely understand, one, it's not for everyone. It definitely has a specific subject matter that I think is just perfect. Hello!
Hi, Nat. And we have Dcomicqueen joining us.
Yay!
Hey. I'm sorry, I couldn't find my headphones.
Oh, it's okay.
No worries.
This is on time for you, so this is good.
I know, right? First, I'm sorry.
Oh no, we're
No
twinsies.
I tried.
Oh my god, you didn't send the memo to me?
Thanks. That is crazy. That is crazy. That's amazing. That is amazing.
So we were just doing the intro, so your timing was perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
So that's hysterical. It's great actually finding the time to get you on the stream again, because it's been since, I think,
been a while.
Doomsday Clock in January.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about Kelly Sue DeConnick because she's talking about her next review that she's doing for Comic Lounge and doing Pretty Deadly, the Rat.
Yeah, so good. It was really good. Kelly Sue DeConnick is always just poetic, especially with this one. So I can't wait to talk a little bit more about that. But yeah.
So we'll start out with the books we brought. Nat, you are the guest, so you will go first with your first pick, and we'll go book by book, each person round robin.
So show all my books, or just the first book?
One at a time.
Okay.
So you'll have your first, then it'll go to Jen, then me, and then next book.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to say I'm excited to be on the show with Jen. I don't think I've seen you on anything yet. So.
Yeah,
usually you watch our Lock and Key.
Yeah.
You watch our Lock and Key, I think.
I'm usually
besides the it's okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you had more videos out there or anything.
No,
so I didn't know what to expect.
Right before you hopped on, I was just talking about how this last week, since I've been out of work, I haven't been as productive as I want to be. So that was one of the things where I'm hey, I'll do my YouTube channel or whatever that I've been thinking about doing. So maybe this week, who knows? So
yeah.
I just forage for food. That's all I do. I go to the grocery store looking for whatever truck came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know Nat went to the store to feed her family, and every shelf was empty.
Yep.
I did. It was crazy though, because it was just my weekly, grocery shopping, and then nothing was available, and I was really mad. I was just why do people do this? Why do they just?
And that becomes The Last of Us.
Yeah. I know, right? We end up starving ourselves just because of our own stupidity. But.
Well, toilet paper. We have people going to my store every morning looking for toilet paper. It doesn't last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I really don't understand either.
I just told people buy a bidet. If you're that worried, just
That
get
too,
it in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Saves a lot of
Just
money.
go to your local comic book store and get those like 90s comic books in the dollar bin.
See, this is where Gambit would be like, just say it. Just say Liefeld book. Yeah, I know you want to. Like,
I'm not discriminating when it comes to toilet paper. Like,
Like, you'll be fine. You're not gonna die. You're not gonna die without toilet paper. You'll die without food.
yeah.
yes,
I know how
that.
to wash my own ass. Like,
Go in the shower
yeah.
Right? We still got water.
for now. Till that.
Oh, I know. I was worried about that too. I'm like, damn, they're gonna start cutting off our water and shit.
This has officially become the pandemic edition of LongBox.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead, Nat. Let's go with your book. I'm curious.
I forgot your message.
Oh,
Okay, so my first one is a book I've been talking about actually for a while. It's The Kill Lock.
not read that.
Yeah.
Well, I've only mentioned it once. I've been wanting to review it on my Instagram, which I think I will this week. But The Kill Lock is an IDW book, so I know a lot of people have been picking it up. Do you want me to like summarize it or?
Yeah, talk about it a bit. Like,
Yeah.
makes you like it,
Okay, so it's about these like 4 robots that they have each been found like guilty of a crime that they did, and they have been bound by this thing called the kill lock. So they've all been bounded by the kill lock, which is like their death sentence. So if one of them dies, they are all gonna end up being killed by the kill lock. It's like they're both. I mean, all 4 of them are kind of like tied together. So if one of them ends up dying, they all end up dying. So like they have to make sure and protect each other so that not one of them dies by doing something stupid, and then they end up killing themselves, I guess, in a way. So like they have to protect everyone from not doing stupid stuff. But the thing is, like, these robots, since they're all like either murderers or thieves or like bad people, it's really hard to try to convince them to work with you. So, like, to be honest, it's a book about robots, but it's very human. Like, it's so emotional, and I really love it. It reminds me of Kanto a lot because it has like that whole, emotional robot to it. And then also, like, another thing is that one of the robots is a child, so he's not guilty. So it gives them more reason to try to go find like the person that made the program to try to get out of this program because they want to save that child because he's
so it's almost like Tim 21 from Descender.
I don't know. Never read Descender. So.
Oh, God.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
that's a good one.
Yes, it's a very good book.
Yeah.
The Kill Lock sounds really good, and it sounds like I love weird sci-fi, and that sounds like weird sci-fi. Okay, is it? I saw that you.
So
had
that's your
before.
profile now. I like weird sci-fi and Satanism.
100%. That is weird sci-fi and Satanism. Like, that is my brand. 100%. Like, make it sex positive and yeah, I'm there.
So are the killer robots like the ones from Dr. Aphra, where like that killer protocol droid and the R2, or are they not like that?
So they each have like their own personalities, and there's this one robot, the artisan. He's my favorite because he basically like says like fuck it, I don't care about anything, and he's this guy right here, and he's like a fucking badass. Like, he's just like,
that's my robot.
He's a murderer. So like he just doesn't care. Like, straight up in the first like couple pages, he goes and like straight up murders this dude because his job, so in this world, from what we've seen so far, they all are robots. So like this whole universe is robots. So there's different classes of the robots, in this universe. Like they have different jobs. And like his job basically was to program other robots. So like he knows how every robot out there works. So like he can just go up to you and like kill you because he can like see your like machinery because that was his job. So he's just like brutal like that. He's just like goes and he just doesn't give a fuck. And
okay, I'm kind of fascinated to wait for the trade for this now.
Yeah, I see you have four issues there. Is
there's
it collected
3
in
right
trade?
now.
Oh, there's 3. Okay, so is it collected in trade yet, or?
I think it just came out.
Okay.
Maybe issue 4 came out.
Probably. I'm a little behind. I really got this. I think this came out like 2 weeks ago, so I'm not sure. It's written by Livio Romandelli. He's the one that's been writing Transformers.
Okay.
I have not read Transformers in a long, long time.
So he's all about that whole, robots in space.
March 25th, Kill Lock 4 comes out.
Okay, so this upcoming week, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's really good. Like, you're really gonna fall in love with it. I think, like, if you give it a shot, by the first issue, you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is really good." So.
Okay, Jen.
So my first pick of the week is going to be Tartarus #2. I don't know if either of you have read it, picked it up, but it's another Image title. Issue 1 obviously came out a month ago, and it's a lot to unpack. This is a thick comic, thick with 2 C's. It's a lot of information to pack in, and I love the weird artwork of it. The artwork reminds me of titles like Little Bird. So I just really, really love this title.
Who's the writer on it?
Johnny Christmas.
Sounds like a supervillain name.
Yeah, right?
Or like a criminal.
Supervillain.
Well, Johnny Christmas, come here. Yeah. Like a gangster.
I feel like this was Image. Image has a really good job of doing a lot in issue 1, giving you a really good info dump. I feel like Image does that really well. And sometimes their issue 1s are really, really good, and then issue 2 is okay, and then it kind of goes down. Issue 2, this has still been really good.
I'll make an argument against that theory. Mercy, #1. I got no information. I got nothing.
We totally agreed on Mercy.
Yes.
So we're on the same page with that. With Mercy, I'm still going to pick up #2 just to see where it goes, but I would not be surprised if I end up just hate reading it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
The art was nice. The story.
Beautiful.
I couldn't remember a character's name afterward.
Yeah.
Wow. I picked it up, but it's been sitting in my to read. So
it's not bad.
Now I don't know. Now I don't know if I should
totally read it, but maybe I think what it was, I think we talked about this when we talked about Mercy, Dan, is that it there was so much hype from Image and from everywhere from it, and I feel like it didn't meet expectations, and I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it. So
it's the next saga. Everything from Image is the next saga.
Actually, I've heard the Kill Lock compared to Saga on the review. Yeah, I was just like, I can kind of see that though. That is that good. Tell you that much.
I'm actually gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna trade weight, but if I can get the digitals as a pack pretty cheap, then I'll probably get that. Because I know my shop doesn't have the issues because he doesn't order independents unless you special order them. True story. Even Image books, if you don't special order, he doesn't carry.
That's what my old comic book owner used to do. Only on pulls. He used to just order those books. I was just like,
frustrates me to no end.
Yeah. That's sad because I feel like those stories are a lot of what's keeping people going back and is going to create the new generation of comic book readers. But...
So, Nat, we've talked about this. Do you have superhero fatigue?
What do you mean?
When you're reading, do you kind of get to a point where the superhero books are kind of, you're reading them just out of loyalty, but you're not loving them?
No. I think I'll always find a superhero book I'm interested in. I'll switch in between books, but I don't think I'll ever get tired of superheroes. Does that make sense? Good example, I think with the Green Lantern right now, the Green Lantern series. I'm so behind on it because it just kind of it's a little down for me, and I was really disappointed because that's a title I've never dropped. Green Lantern and Batman, no matter if I like it or not, I'll keep buying it. But recently I keep buying it, but just putting it in a stack, and then it just keeps stacking up, and I'm just I kind of don't want to read Green Lantern, and it makes me really sad to say that because I love Green Lantern.
Well, it was hard for me because I bought Batman steadily for 30 years, and Tom King made me drop it.
See,
take a shot. Tom King.
I was this close to dropping it, but Like you. Well, I don't know. Did you end up dropping it?
I did. I stopped buying it.
Wow.
And then like I'd have people texting me at 3 a.m. and be like, "Hey, this issue sucked," and I'm like, "It couldn't have been that bad." He's like, "Go check it out," and I'd be like,
And you still read it? Did you still read it?
I went to the comic store and he'd let me read it off the shelf.
Oh wow!
I wasn't paying for it.
That's
But then he'd have to like go, "Could you not curse around the customers?" Because there was one of the Gotham Girl issues. I was like, "Who fucking writes this? For fuck's
when
sake!"
she's fighting? Is it when she's fighting with like Robin or something?
Yes.
I
I'm like,
hated that. I was like, who talks that much while fighting? Like, honestly,
I actually shouted you out for our Heroes in Crisis stream because when we did the stream with Cinia, she was like, we were talking about it and she was talking about how one of the characters was being written. I was like, have you read Tom King's Batgirl in Heroes in Crisis where she said like 32 times?
It wasn't just her. It was like
everybody,
her
yeah.
and like Blue Beetle and like everyone was like. I was just like, I'm gonna start counting this.
Well, our last review show, she's like, Jennifer's like, I'm doing Tom King's Strange Adventures. Did you read this? I was like, oh yeah, it's not a Batman book. I'll read it.
Hold on. So Jennifer, did you like Tom King's Batman?
I at this point I'm like not even reading Batman. Like I feel.
So you
like,
never read it?
No.
Okay, good. Don't.
So here's why, and it's not because of Tom King. Like I think that he is a fantastic writer.
Me too.
Like Miracle Man, oh my goodness, Vision, all of those, just they're fantastic. But I have what Dan was just talking about. I have superhero fatigue. I'm not really reading any like Batman or anything like that.
Oh no, I think like I don't know, like overall superhero fatigue. I don't think I've ever. I mean, I've been reading comics for a long time, and it's just like a huge part of my life. Like I don't know. I don't think I've ever really gotten tired of them. If I got tired of like the new stuff coming out, even then, like I'll still be reading or rereading previous trades that came out years ago.
As long as I know he's not writing Batman or Wally West, I'll read and enjoy whatever he's writing. Like I love Miracle Man. I really enjoyed Sheriff of Babylon. Vision was fucking brilliant, especially by the end of it, where I was close to tears.
Yeah.
With the whole Wanda thing.
Vision with me, it was really good, but I don't think it was like as great as people make it out to be. To be honest,
it was unexpected.
Yeah,
it was good because it was very emotional, and like the whole robot thing again. But it just wasn't as like amazing as people have said it was. Like I think the people that really claim it to be like one of the best stories are people that haven't actually read. I mean, this is sorry, like I don't really mean it like an offensive way, but I mean like there's so many other great superhero stories out there that are just as emotional as Vision was, and people just like pass along Vision because I was like, look, have you read this? It's like really good.
I think there hadn't been a good Vision story in a long time too, where they really fleshed out his character and giving him this family that people really gravitated towards, like with Viv and Vin, and then the wife becoming kind of a serial killer.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. It happens in a lot of comics,
but not Vision.
I'm just saying, like putting emotion into like a robot and saying, "Hey, you can relate to this." It happens a lot.
Strange Adventures, though, we talked. It kind of had a little bit of a Mr. Miracle vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Tom King takes the same, formula and puts it into any character. I'm not hating on Tom King. I'm really not.
No,
I'm saying that's his thing.
I'm still not over the Wally West thing. I'm not going to be. Even flash forward still bothered me.
That's still another book that I haven't caught up on. I have them all there. I haven't caught up on them. I'm like just putting them like in between on like my to read. They're kind of like in the middle.
So now my pick.
What's yours?
The Hype Train.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was a very thick issue, much like how you explained Tartarus. It also had a very thick price point at I think this is $5. So it's at Marvel price now. A lot of hype on this book. A lot of hype. And it's the most uneven comic book I have read in a long time. It's slow. It meanders to the end. You have to trudge through a lot of pages and a lot of uneven art where the art style changes by the artist constantly. And it will be colored, then not colored, then colored, not colored.
And even the scenery in the background, I feel like it changes. And I'm like, wait, where are they again? I feel like it did that a couple times.
And then you get to the end when stuff finally happens. This is kind of the art where it's colored, not colored. They introduce a character called the Courier I really enjoy. She's in it for a whole 2 minutes of the book. By the time something happens, I'm just literally like, I don't know what I just trudged through.
Yeah.
I'll keep with it because it's Hickman.
So was it rushed? Or what do you think?
I think it was high concept. It's a lot of text, and the text is important, but sometimes it completely ruins the pacing of the book. But by the end of the book, the last 10 pages of that story at the end, I totally enjoyed that, but everything up to it I did not enjoy. And there's no character development, none.
I think you're right. Like the characters are just like given to you, and you take them at like face value. There hasn't been any like character development, and not necessarily. I think that we were even talking about like the similarities with Mercy. Like I do know the characters, and I know the characters' names, and I feel like they're very tropey in Decorum. Like they definitely have a character type. I liked Decorum a lot more than I liked Mercy, though. So, not to compare the two because they're nothing alike. But
I had a friend compare it to East to West, and he's like, "Oh, well, I read that they didn't really develop the characters." I was like, "I knew more about Archie and all of them than I do anything about this."
Yeah.
But hopefully, issue 2, now that they've kind of set up the world, it'll be a little bit better. But the hype train was so big on Decorum. I think that also when I walked into it, I was just like, all right, well, after House of X, let's get into it.
Just better be good.
And then I read it, I was like, it's good. It's just not great. And the art is what actually upset me more than anything else. Because it was middling.
I didn't hate the artwork on Decorum, but the art style and the switching, that I didn't care for, but I wish it was more consistent.
I didn't feel it move the story. And I've become very big on, I want the art to move the story if the text isn't. Yeah. And at times, like, I had a friend who did a portfolio check, and the guy doing his portfolio was like, are you an illustrator or are you a cartoonist? And he was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, an illustrator, you're making images. A cartoonist moves the story. So what are you? What is your plan as a artist? And it fucked his head up.
He just really burns it and just like trash it. I'm gonna start over.
No, he was just like dwelling on it. He's like, I don't understand what he's trying to say. Like, I don't. And he like walked away just like. And the guy didn't explain to him what he meant either.
Yeah.
So like I had another artist friend who used to work for Extreme. After I told him, posted on his Facebook. And hearing the answers was kind of, everybody had their own answer to what type of artist they were. So it was kind of, my friend used to work under Liefeld, and it's got some stories.
I bet.
So I forget what I gave this when we reviewed it originally, or when I reviewed it. I'm doing the 6 to 10 range. I still think it's like a 6. And maybe with a thinner issue and not as dense, there might be a little bit more consistency, but I didn't feel the world building was even that great in this.
I think it's definitely heavy on like the characters, and there's a couple of them like in the beginning. So
there's 3 characters they focus on, but even then they don't give them enough breathing room. But the Courier, I love her sassiness. So like Alice from Nailbiter, I instantly was like, I like this person. All right, Nat, back to you.
What, my second book?
Yes.
I picked. Let's see, what should I talk about? The Batman's Grave.
Oh, yes. Warren Ellis, the best.
Yes, like Batman story. I don't know how many times I've said this, but like, if you want an actual Batman detective story, like, pick this up.
And Sassy Alfred.
Like, no Tom King ghetto writing here.
Alfred, like at one point goes, "Sir, I'm ripped to the tits on cocaine, the finest."
Yes, and then it's just like joking.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, damn. Ever since the beginning, since like issue 1, Alfred was just like a fucking badass.
He's kind of like
damn.
Michael Caine, but even more sassy from the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like makes this like different? Like how does this one stand out?
It's a detective book.
Are you reading this one?
No.
Okay.
I am.
So like, it actually shows you more of what like Bruce Wayne is thinking. Like, he'll go to the case, you know, the murder scene, crime scene, and then like he'll look around, and then you kind of like see what he's thinking, because like you're in his head, and then he's in like the murderer's head, because that's the way he, you know, as a detective works. So you're seeing all this as a reader, and you're just like, wow, like this is what Bruce Wayne is thinking. And the writer Warren Ellis is giving that to you, and you're just like, wow, you know, this is how he gets his clues, this is how he goes to the next steps, this is how he's like, okay, this is what's happening. And then he goes back to the Batcave, you know, talks it out with Alfred, and like you see this happening, you see him, you know, taking out these clues and just, you know, thinking, and detective work, like you're seeing the detective work right in front of you. And you know, other Batman stories are Batcat.
Yeah.
Like, it has no.
I can't do this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It reminded me of the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies where he's going through all the moves and the recreations where they're doing it, the crime scene. It's kind of like that, but instead of like doing I'm going to block his left and then punch, instead he's doing the whole crime scene with how in the person's head he's going through of like,
yeah, and
he hated this person.
He actually like puts himself in the victim's like place, and you see him sit down in the chair and be like, what was he looking at, what was he doing, you know, and then he notices a telephone or something, and you're like, he starts thinking like, oh, he was on the phone, he was talking to someone. So then like, it's just amazing seeing how Bruce Wayne is picking up on all these clues, and you're just, I love seeing that. Like, I love seeing Bruce Wayne in action as a detective, not as like.
There's actually been no Batman books actually that went through the detective work in a long ass time.
In a long
It's all
time.
just fighting.
Yeah. Or then the Grant Morrison, which I love that Grant Morrison run.
Like, this doesn't really focus on just him fighting and like, oh, it's Batman. This is actually, it gives him like, oh, you know, he's smart. Like, he's Bruce Wayne. Like, he's smart. That's what makes him Batman.
And as a recommendation for anybody looking for good Batman stories, the Streets of Gotham run by Paul Dini, fucking phenomenal. Like, and if you like Batman the Animated Series, Paul Dini wrote a lot of that. He created Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
His Streets of Gotham is fantastic. That is one of the best Batman books no one talks about, and a lot of them are real short storylines. And I will go to my grave saying that's still better than Tom King's run. Grant Morrison's is better. Okay, yeah.
Take a shot every time we talk about Tom King.
I really had no intention of it going down this route.
It always does.
This is usually where Gambit turns to me and he's like, "Dude, stop."
Dad, if me and you are talking, it's always going to be about Tom King.
Well, no, like it's become a trope now because Gambit always brings up Rob Liefeld. It never fails. And Jennifer has a problem with Lock and Key's artist.
Really?
She got mad about the Sandman Lock and Key crossover that he was doing the art.
That I didn't, just because Sandman's like a personal favorite, like that has a very special place in my heart. And when I think about artists like Williams III, when I think about like that artwork, so to me, I don't know, that's my baby. That's something special. And
Sandman to me will always be Dave McKean and then Sam Keith. Sam Keith has some good ones on that as well. Yeah. But J.H. Williams, I liked, was it not Prelude? What was that last one he did? The last Sandman?
Overture?
Yeah. I liked it. I didn't love it.
I'll read it no matter what. Like,
I bought the Absolute Edition.
mm-hmm. Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Is it still Sunday?
It is. Well, for you guys, 30 more minutes.
Not much.
Yeah.
Well, for me, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the So are the Lock and Key Sandman, is that just the Sandman universe crossover, or is it actually Sandman?
I think it's the two universes coming together. Yeah.
That sounds really awesome. Actually.
Oh, so good. You gotta read it. Comics on the Mind.
Yeah. Sandman is like one of those, if you have not read Sandman and you like comic books, you need to read it. I think there's a lot of criticism decades later for some of the writing, and
Death, the High Cost of Living was so good. It's spinning out of that.
Yeah.
And Preacher, if you have not read it, is one of my all-time favorites. The Swamp Thing run by Alan Moore, phenomenal. Oh my god. Sandman Hellblazer. Oh,
yep.
Those early Vertigo books still hold up, almost every one of them to this day.
100%. Like, those were the ones that got me into comics, like Sandman, Preacher, Watchmen. Those were the comics that got me. And that's probably why I have a little bit of a distaste for superheroes, because I didn't get into comics with superheroes. I mean, save Batman, but those other stories.
Does it make you sad that there's no Vertigo now?
Yes. And there, I could go on about.
I mean, Black Label is kind of become the new Vertigo.
Yeah. I mean, what's Karen Berger, I think is her name, who got like ousted. I think that she deserves so much more credit. Like, she is a titan in the industry and an unsung hero of the industry, and the way that I think that the comics industry should be so much better for her for what she's done. I know she's doing her own imprint with Berger books, but yeah.
I am liking the Black Label stuff. In particular, The Last God by Federici and Philip Kennedy Johnson, I think is one of the best, especially for like Lord of the Rings. Phenomenal title for Black Label. I think all the Hill House are considered Black Label at this point.
What is that? Wait, which one did you say?
The Last God.
When did that come out?
They're on issue 5 right now. It's basically if the Fellowship went and told everybody they killed Sauron and they didn't really. That's what this is.
Ooh.
What?
And it's one of the rare titles. The art on the cover matches exactly what's in the interiors.
Is it good?
It's good. It's real fucking good.
I want to go pick it up.
The first trade should be coming out since they just had issue 5 come out. I'm really enjoying
trades though.
I've actually picked this up issue by issue, so I've been lucky. Like, I caught onto it early because I was like, that cover looks really interesting.
Out or what?
Oh no, you can pick it up. It's not sold out at all.
Okay, I'll be doing that.
Black Label, because
is Wonder Woman Dead Earth? Is that Black Label?
Yes.
That's one of the that's one of the one titles that I'm like, okay,
I'm not liking the art.
See, I love that. Like, it reminds me of Paul Pope. I love it.
Well, I love Paul Pope, but like my favorite Paul Pope, that Batman Year 100.
Oh yeah. So
fucking good. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm a Paul Pope fan. There's some isn't the Sean Gordon Murphy verse, isn't that part of Black Label or no? I can't remember.
I think that was like a little bit before Black Label came out. But
okay, I know he's got his own imprint
but now he has. Yeah, they're moving it to like his own little. So I think so.
The Superman Year 1.
I dropped that.
Had some good parts, had some bad parts. I got a lot of shit for liking issue 1. People were down.
It was like the same story that you have always heard and read over and over again.
He was in the military though. Well, I don't know. Everybody just started downvoting my video, like thumbs downing it, and for once, I could say it wasn't my ex's husband.
Damn.
Taking a shot for that one.
Okay, moving on. Oh shit. Oh yeah, Jen, what's your fuck?
I'm glad you asked. So, my second one, let me see where it's at. So something is killing the children. If you have not picked up the first trade, highly recommend it. It's a really fun story about some monsters that are like killing and kidnapping some children, and the main character, what's her name? Something Slaughter.
Erica Slaughter.
Erica Slaughter coming around, and she's carrying around this doll that's animated and haunted,
Little
and it's
squid.
a little squid, and it's wacky and it's weird, and I don't know, it hits all those like weird points for me. So it's like a horror book, but it's weird, and I love it.
I want to know so much more about Erica Slaughter.
Right? Like, what's her?
They don't reveal anything about her. She's interesting in that those Jenny Friesen covers that she put. Oh my god, all of them are so. Actually, Jenny Friesen, like I buy most of her covers. They're so good, especially her Wonder Woman covers. Yeah, I really like this James Tynion. Weirdly, his writing is kind of all over the place, but when he hits those horror elements, I really enjoy his writing.
Yeah.
What was that other book he had for Boom a while back? It started out really good. I cannot remember what it was now. But Boom, all of a sudden, like between that and Once and Future, like they started investing in like putting out these books that aren't properties. Like they're their own stuff. I've enjoyed it greatly.
And Once and Future comes out in trade format this week. So
good.
It's funny because I was just reading I forget which comic book shop posted this, but they said that Boom is one of the publishers that's listening to people, that's like pushing these stories that people actually want to hear.
Also, I'll give them credit. Them, Image, and IDW came out real fast after this coronavirus and put up the returnability. DC has still not opened their mouth. And when Rob Liefeld's criticizing you on Twitter,
for about what? What did they do?
So because of the coronavirus, and obviously the comic book shop industry, they run on very low profit margins. They also have to order these books months in advance. Usually the cutoff is normally a couple weeks before, 2 months before.
Yeah, that's how I order my books.
And so then if, you don't know if something's going to be a hit, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times, if you order these books that these retailers are telling you are going to be fantastic books and they don't turn out great, you're stuck with all this inventory as a comic book store with low profit margins. And so, like, to your point, Boom and Image then said, if you as a comic book store owner aren't selling these books, you can actually return them to us. I think that there's a certain percentage of books that you can return to them.
It's 20%.
20 or I thought it was 25, 25
something like that. Yeah.
And then they're also doing some heavy discounts. And I know that a lot of shops are postponing Free Comic Book Day. And obviously that's more of a Diamond thing.
Diamond actually postponed it to, I think it's outside of May now, which, I mean, it's smart at this point because the shops have to pay for those books.
Yeah, they pay for every free comic book that they give you. They pay for them. So,
but DC is catching shit now because they haven't opened their mouth about returnability or anything, which I don't think Marvel has either. But kind of speaks volumes. Also, I have to say this as an addendum to our last live stream. If you're gonna order trades, don't buy from Amazon. Buy from In-Stock Trades or go to your LCS.
Go to your local comic book shop.
Adam Gazowski, the colorist for Nailbiter, kind of shamed me a little bit for mentioning Amazon, so I am doing an addendum.
Can I also? So there's one other place that you can get it. If you go, so there's this new, it's bookshop.org. And just to give a little insight into what it does is that bookshop.org is trying to compete with Amazon. And what they do is that they are giving, so bookshop.org is letting local retailers, whether you're a bookshop as well as comic book store owner, they're basically letting you buy online and they're letting you have some retail space in their online shop. And they split the profits between affiliates comic book shops and bookstores, as well as some other retailers if they have online shops. So I think right now, I just saw on their website today, $70,000 has been raised for local bookstores. So bookshop.org, get books from them. They have comic books on there.
Never heard of that actually
Yep.
before. But I just wanted to do that because Adam Gazowski was very passionate about it. Yes, on Twitter.
He was gracious about it, though.
He watched our stream and very much enjoyed it. And to have the creators of Nailbiter actually watch it and promote it kind of put me into a panic attack. Not going to lie. But I wanted to do that addendum to it. And in case he watches this, just let him know that I did it. Still looking forward to Nailbiter Returns. I'll be there, virus and everything on the 1st to go pick it up if my comic store is open.
On April Fool's Day.
Yeah. I swear to God, if it doesn't come out, I'm going to be really pissed off. It's all a big trolling. So, I guess it's my pick.
Yeah. What's your second pick?
Well, I don't have the issues in front of me because they're upstairs in my box and I want to dig for them. It's You're the Villain, Hell Arisen. Why the fuck everybody's going crazy about Punchline? I don't get. She's in there for 2 pages. 2. With Mercy. Bless you.
Oh, sorry. I really want to say that. I can't hold it.
So I read the series. I'm going to sound like a real fucking douchebag for this. I bought the digital of issue 3 so I didn't have to actually open my issue 3 so I could resell it at some point.
That's why you don't want to bring it down. You don't want to get like fingerprints on it and stuff.
You'd be surprised. I actually had an issue get downgraded on CGC because it had fingerprints on it because of the black cover.
Oh, yep.
Went from a 9.8 to a 9.6 because of fucking fingerprints.
Yeah.
And if that happened to her Batman Detective Comics, she would have been pissed. I knew she would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Your 880 that you had graded? Your 880 that you got graded? If it got downgraded because of fingerprint, I know you would have lost your mind.
Yeah.
So, Hell Arisen is the most pointless fucking series I have ever read. It's just meandering and carrying on the bullshit of the Dark Knight metal. I hate all of the Dark Multiverse. I hate it. It won't die. It just keeps going and going. I just finished issue 4. And there's more
like a new metal something gonna come out.
Heavy metal, yes,
yeah.
Or death metal, or whatever.
I think this is where like that superhero fatigue comes in, and it's like you get so many titles. It's
a big event.
Yeah.
My problem is Scott Snyder's better than this. He really is.
Did you like Dark Metal?
No, I hated it.
Really?
By the end of it, I was just like, why? There were some cool moments.
Like, not counting all the tie-ins and stuff.
I'm so tired of the Batman Who Laughs. Like, Josh Williamson had to write that Superman Batman book, and I know he was just tied down to that book. And then all those books that came out of it, like, what was it, Blind Spot or whatever it was that Didio was writing, the one that could open the rifts. I can't remember what it was called. That's how much I'm Sideways, yes.
Yeah.
Blindside, Sideways. I just all those books just came and went.
Yeah.
The Silencer was the only one I kind of liked, and I hate Romita Jr.'s art.
I think that's the only one that stayed, right?
That's gone too now. Yeah, they're all gone. I don't know, like it just did nothing for me. And then they just kept this Batman Who Laughs shit going on and on, where he became Wolverine during the 90s, where like every book is like, okay, I get it. He's popular. I'm okay. Oh, it's Venom now. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Wait,
he's in every book. Like it before all that. I'm talking about like just actual, what is it, like 1 through 6? Have you like Dark Metal?
The first couple of issues I really liked. By the end of it, I just want it to be over.
Yeah.
Okay. It just meandered too much. And this, it's like, well, Lex, you have powers, but you were the best human. Now you're this thing. Mm-hmm. And he's fighting the Batman Who Laughs. And by the end of it, I was just like, there's no point to this. There really isn't. There's just not a point. it just keeps going and going and going. And it's upsetting. And I was like, you could have been writing American Vampire instead of this. We could have had the Witches sequel by now.
Right? Yeah. Go work on
Please,
that.
please, and thank you, witches.
And I'm like, instead we're getting this. And I love Capullo. I love his art. I
Yeah, he said he was done, right?
I love his Twitter posts.
He was done.
And seeing him throw out beautiful art because he doesn't think it's right. Like, I like him. Scott Snyder has always been good to me online, but I'm not. He lost his mojo. I'm gonna call it now. And for the people who called me out saying I don't criticize Snyder and I'm criticizing King all the time, I don't. I criticize. I hated his Justice League. I hate King's. I'm not King. Oh, I hate Snyder. I hate Snyder's Justice League.
Did it?
I hate Snyder's Justice League. It's terrible. He can't write Superman. He still can't write Superman. He's never had the voice of Superman. He knows Batman. That's about it. It's kind of like, well, no, I can't even call Jeff Johns because Jeff Johns wrote a beautiful Superman when he was doing Action, I think. Jeff Johns has Wally West's voice perfectly. I didn't like his Barry Allen. Actually, I hate Barry Allen. It's not my Flash.
I love Barry Allen.
Really? I don't. Wally was always my guy. Like, Barry was always milquetoast. But that's enough of my rant. So by the end of the series, I was questioning why, other than just to keep this meandering Perpetua story going and not being able to get rid of the Batman who laughs. Just, they did find a cure. By the end, they found a cure for all the infected, though. And that's probably a spoiler. I don't care because I don't recommend you read this.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Hell Arisen. They had a cure for the infected Secret Six, which the fact they used Secret Six after Gail Simone's Secret Six is an insult. And that's my rant. So on to you, Nat. That was very passionate.
You can keep going if you want.
No, I'm done. I'm done because I'll start calling people Tom King when I'm not trying to say they're Tom King.
I feel like I hate this person. Oh wait, no, I don't.
Tom King. You connect hate with like Tom King. Okay, so the last book I picked was Dollhouse.
Ooh. I love that book.
Yep, the Dollhouse. This has really got me like intrigued. I think this is probably my favorite out of the Hill House comics.
That is the darkest of them too. That is a very morbid fucking book.
I really like it though. And I really like how it alternates in between like the years.
I actually read that like it would be one of those Blumhouse movies. Where it could be done on the cheap, where it's kind of psychological horror.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally read like a movie to me. Like The Conjuring and stuff like that. Like I could see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Did you
Maybe
read
I just
it?
No. Mm-mm.
Buy the trade. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth it.
I'll definitely pick it up.
It's like actual horror. I guess that's what you're trying to say, Dan, with the whole movie.
Yeah, it's family horror too, where like abusive stepdad.
Yeah, like you're reading it and you're just like it's coming across as horror, like you're feeling it.
It's this like completely, I won't know if it's like satanic or what it is, but that dollhouse, like the girl can go in it and there's these things in it and they kill people for her.
Mm.
There's like, I guess the house is like its own thing. I mean, it hasn't really explained it yet, right? Like
No.
That's the thing, though. It doesn't give you much, but you're still so invested in the story. Like,
totally entertained.
Yes. And it's like slowly feeding you bits and pieces of information, alternating between years of like, I guess the first owner or the creator of the dollhouse to like present time to the person that owns the dollhouse. But you know that it's like a family line, though.
Yeah.
It's like a lineage that coming from that guy, I guess, that first created the dollhouse. Up to, I guess, present day, the owner or the little girl that has the dollhouse right now.
I actually would recommend this over Basket Full of Heads.
Me too.
Actually,
yeah.
Same Comics on My Mind just said the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's one of the best Hill House comics.
And that's the one not written by Joe Hill. I think that and Lolo Woods weren't written by him.
I think I dropped Lolo Woods.
It was bad. It was not good.
Yeah,
I
I
still
dropped
pick
it.
it up, but
I read, I think, up to what, 3? You know, like, I gave it hope. Like, I was like, it might be getting good, but I don't know. It's just it got a little weird.
I mean, I could deal with weird, but like I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me.
No, it got weird.
Like I needed a little bit of oh, what was the book from Dark Horse? The girl was the witch. Oh, Harrow County. I wanted a little bit of that, and it just wasn't there for me.
I liked how you said that it's a horror book. Like, obviously, like, I really like horror, but I think that in comic books that's really hard to do. Like, obviously you can watch a horror movie or TV show, but in comics I feel like there are very few books that just like hit the nail on the head for horror. Which is Scott Snyder. Like, that kind of that one does it for me really, really well. But yeah, I'm intrigued about that one now.
But it also hits that little bit of Lock and Key Volume 1 where it's also the family, like, psychological, like, pain and suffering.
Yeah. Well, that's up into, like, the latest issue. The first issue wasn't really like that, I don't think.
It was mostly like issue 2 or 3 where they run into the whole family dynamics.
Very, very psychological thriller. It's really good, though. I think you're gonna like it.
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I would check it out on trade when it comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to continue past when the miniseries ends. And what is your next pick?
So my speaking of Joe Hill, I went ahead The Plunge. I haven't read this one yet, but you recommended it to me last week. You recommended it to me a couple weeks ago, and then I went ahead and got issue 1, and then issue 2 just came out. So I'm excited to see where this goes. It gave me some vibes from The Wake.
Little bit.
I mean, obviously there are some parallels to it. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I think issue 1 was very much like I could guess I'm not going to go ahead and give anything away, but issue 1 of The Plunge kind of went where I expected it to. But at the end, they kind of reveal something, and I'm like, okay, this is actually I don't think that this will just be like a stereotypical or like do all the tropes. So I'm very excited to see where issue 2 goes. And this is obviously right now the only Hill House book that I'm reading.
I really like Stuart Immonen's art style change in it. I think he's a very good sequential artist. It does have a lot of tropes in it. Like, at times I was like, this reminds me of Alien versus Predator, and I'm not sure if I like this. With the whole, we got to gather the team together. Issue 2 is a little bit more of like unraveling the mystery of these sea creatures. That's where I understand where you started getting into The Wake, because I had that moment too. I was like, but it's not showing Gordon Murphy's art, who draws trash better than anyone else. like destruction and like dystopian nightmares, he draws like exceptionally well. It's moving pretty well. Again, like, I keep stopping when I'm reading going, oh, this is another trope. Oh, this is another trope where like 80s horror movies I watched that had to do with undersea creatures. I was like, okay, I see where you're going. You've watched some movies. I'm totally intrigued though. I'm down for it.
I'll put up with the tropes with this one because I feel like it's going to get somewhere very special.
I only read issue 1, but I liked it too. I have second issue in my pull list, so I'm excited.
And the Gary Frank covers, blessed. I love Gary Frank. Like, I wish he could draw faster, because Doomsday Clock tortured me.
Yes. I think my battery's about to die.
Oh no!
If it does, I'll hop on. You can do it through the phone, right?
That's what she's doing.
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did my iPad before too. Okay, well, my pick is Marvel's X. Issue 3 just came out. It's basically civilization got infected with this mutant virus, and basically 3/4 of civilization became mutants and started attacking the humans. And it ties into the what was it? Marvel's there was it was Kruger and Ross wrote the series called Universe X, or I can't remember now. Yeah, this is like a prequel to it. It's done in kind of the more Marvel's format where this kid, he's the only member of his family that didn't get infected by the mutant virus. So to look like he's a mutant, he's wearing a Green Goblin mask. And weirdly, it's an infection story. So he's foraging for food. Like sometimes all he can find is stale cereal. And the art is beautiful. It is by Will B. And it's an artist I've never heard of. And he like meets some of the heroes that are still around. Like Johnny Blaze is a trucker now. And he picks him up as he's hitchhiking to get him out of town. And now instead of a motorcycle, the truck becomes flaming. And
So I feel like it sounds like it would be really like charming and heartwarming. Am I getting the wrong impression about that? Or
it is, because it's this kid who's like a hero worshiper who now he's basically a 1% of humans left. Mm-hmm. And at a point they have Peter Parker and Daredevil save him from the mutants, and they're trying to keep him safe because he's one of the last humans. And he's wearing the Green Goblin mask, and like Peter's like yelling at him, like, why are you wearing that? Like, don't you understand how horrible of a person that is? So the kid like destroys the mask. There's a bit of charm to it. He's an African-American child. And again, he's like one of the last people left. And at a time like I don't know if you read The Inhumans, where the people were getting hit with that tea mist and they were going into cocoons. It was kind of doing that. And his grandmother went into the cocoon, never came out. She died.
Oh.
His sister mutated and then like became like this light up flaming thing and like burst out of the house, and everybody left him. So he's like, well, I have nobody left. So he puts on the Green Goblin mask.
Oh, did he cut out?
Did you get stuck? Okay. I think you got stuck there for a second.
Oh.
The Matrix. There was a glitch in the Matrix. Don't worry.
Okay. It said something about that's weird. I'm wired in too. That's weird. Okay. So yeah, I really liked it. It's an interesting book. I don't know if I'd recommend buying it on the monthly though.
Okay. So wait for trade, or
I think as a trade, it'll be a really quick read. Honestly, that would be even for Doomsday Clock. That's my recommendation. Wait for the big giant omnibus to come out, because that is a book that's made to be just read in I don't know about one sitting, but
I think with Doomsday Clock, like it was so sporadic and I never knew when it was going to come out, and that just bothered me, and I just said fuck it. And I think like issue 3 or 4 was the last one that I got, so I'm still waiting to pick up like whatever ends up being the big.
Yeah, because I know like Nat and I, we always had this thing like when it ends, we're going to talk about this because it better end big.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and well, 5G, is it happening now? Is it not happening? Because that was the big ending, like the 5G universe.
Yeah, the ending it kind of fell flat, but it was still pretty good.
Gary Frank's art throughout is just so good, so good. And I always joke, like, I'll wait for it. But every time it came out, I was like, good God, like, why? Why?
Oh.
Uh-oh. There goes the battery.
She got like Thanos snapped.
Let them suffer.
There was another, if I can talk about one book really
Absolutely.
quick, because it was another one that you recommended to me and I hadn't read it. I picked up Strange Academy.
Oh.
Did I talk about that yet?
No.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I feel like in the same way that I have superhero fatigue, I think that I have superhero kids go to superhero school, or like we're going to go to a deadly assassin school. Like I think that there's some fatigue there, but this was still very charming and heartwarming.
Hey,
Okay.
Nat.
We're back. Okay.
Okay. Yes, there we go.
So as an extra one, I just wanted to go ahead and shout
Strange
out
Academy was a fun book. It was
Yeah.
an incredibly fun
Yeah.
book. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm curious because like at the end, spoiler alert of this one, they basically have all of the like teachers line up. So you have Nico and Magic and all of
As
them.
soon as
show
Magic
up, so
and
I'm
Nico were there, I was like, I'm down.
100. Like I think those were like the trigger words. Whenever you said I'm like, okay, I have to go ahead and pick it up. So I'm curious. I'm very curious to see how they'll pop up. And I really liked what's his name, Voodoo.
Brother Voodoo, yes.
Brother Voodoo. I really liked his character. Like I can hear his character, I can see his character, so I really enjoyed that. So I'll definitely be picking up issue 2.
There's
for
another
sure.
one that was an assassin school called 5 Weapons, 5 Image years ago that I really
Mhm.
enjoyed.
Mm.
Kind of in that vein. Is Nat with us?
I was
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I cutting off?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I was saying I was going to answer that family tree question.
I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear.
Natalie froze. Oh, wait, no, you're fine.
Okay. I can't hear.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear her?
I can hear her.
Oh no, I can't.
You can
just,
hear me?
like sign language or
Oh,
subtitle
no.
at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, it's Family
I don't
Tree.
either.
Oh,
No, I'm
see,
saying
I
I was
haven't
gonna
I
answer
haven't
that
finished
question.
Family Tree. That's going to be the one that issue 5 comes out, and I'll have to pick that up.
Okay, Nat, go ahead on Family Tree.
No, have you read it?
I have.
What do you think?
I'm torn on it. I have mixed feelings. Some issues are very good, and then some I don't enjoy very much because they're not revealing shit.
I think it's really good though. It's like building up a really good story. Because no, I just saw the comment on it. Somebody had asked about it.
Yeah, it was comics on my mind. Gideon Falls is another
Yeah.
one of those books that I want to love, and I'm just frustrated by. It's my Lemire love-hate relationship.
Yeah, they can't all. I mean, I don't know. I love Lemire, but I guess they can't all be winners. But
Can't they? Remender, everyone's a winner.
no. See, that's where I'm at. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with Remender. Like, I love. I think that I really enjoyed a couple issues of Black Science, and then it just like fell off for me. Same thing happened with Low. I really did enjoy the one he did with Sean Murphy.
Tokyo Ghost.
Tokyo Ghost. I loved that. That was a hit for me.
It's on my
100%.
shoulder.
Yeah.
So, in more important news, are we getting Winds of Winter this year?
We better. Be better.
I feel Nat will be passionate about this, even though she hasn't read all the books.
Of what?
I think when
Is George R. R. Martin going to write Winds of Winter this year?
that was like when all this coronavirus stuff started happening, I was like, has anyone checked on George R. R. Martin? Like him and like Betty White and Rita Ginsburg. Like we've got to protect them at all costs. And we've been waiting for this book for so long, and it's obviously a really good time for him to like stay away from everyone else. And please give us Winds of Winter, please.
Listen, I don't need Danny just flying over and be like, flip a coin. I'm Two-Face now. Am I going to burn everything? Or okay,
Yeah.
burn everything.
Yeah. I fucking hate those guys. I'm so mad, and I get so triggered thinking about that last season.
It did lead to some good memes, though. The Jon Snow, I got 99 problems, but oh god, I got 100 problems. I got 100 problems. And she's my queen. I didn't want this. She's my queen.
I can't. Fuck that last season.
I feel like Natalie has so much to say about that last season.
I do. I blocked it from my mind, to be honest. I was like, that ain't
I
happen.
still can't hear. I'm gonna pop off and come back.
Okay. Betty White will live
It's
forever.
probably my phone. She can do it. She can pull through anything.
I only can hope. I want her to be Destiny if they do another X-Men movie in Marvel. She could be Mystique's lover. This virus is really screwing up everything for me. Like even picking up my comics because they're closing at 11 on Wednesdays now. So if you're
I know.
if you're
the
not there by
comics are
11
open.
for the new issues, they close.
Dang.
And he won't do curbside pickup.
What? My LCOs, they're like, you can go call your hair. We'll just like take them to
Yay.
you.
Cool.
It's really cool.
So what are you doing with your comic
you hear
store
me?
now? Jennifer?
Sorry.
Can you hear her
I
now?
Just, I didn't. I can hear her, but I missed everything. So, give me.
We were talking about
Oh,
our
we're just talking about.
we're talking about coronavirus with the comic store.
Man, like
Yeah.
this coronavirus stuff, like it breaks my heart because one, comic book stores, like they're such a low margin unless maybe you're selling back issues at higher prices and you're selling keys and you get some of those older ones. Like new comics are such a low profit margin. And I'm lucky, and I don't know about you guys, but I've had really, really good comic book shop experiences with local comic book stores. I have been where the best comic book store was 45 minutes away. Shout out Hero Trader in Fort Myers. Like, I will love you guys forever and always. Shout out Tangled Web in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I love you guys. I can talk forever about that. But anyways, in Portland, Oregon, where I'm at now, there's probably 10 comic book stores, and there's 2 or 3 that just do it for me that like my heart is breaking for comic book stores right now because it's such a low profit margin industry and they need our support more than ever. And they are just doing so many things like curbside pickup and books with pictures. Katie is literally driving around to people's houses, hand delivering comic books right now. Like, bless these people.
Because mine on a Wednesday, the one Gambit and I go to, if you're not there by 11, you're not getting your books.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nature of it because if you don't pre-order it 2 months ahead and
even to pick up your subscription, he's closing at 11. There's no curbside. There's no staying open later. If you're not there by 11 a.m. on Wednesday, you're not getting your books.
See, I understand being able to see kind of behind the scenes on how comic book stores work from being at Hero Trader in Fort Myers for a little bit. Man, like I see how that is, and it's a lot of work for these people. But
I'm in Florida. Comics on the mind.
I'm in Portland. Recently moved here from Florida. So yeah. My heart really breaks for comic book stores, and I think that right now we need to do, as a comic book community, I think that we owe it to our comic book stores, whether they are shitty comic book stores, and there are some shitty ones out there, and man, right now comic book stores need to earn every fucking dollar. A lot of them have, some of them haven't, but you know,
mine is a Magic the Gathering store mostly. That's where most of his money comes from. So not having Friday Night Magic is crippling him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Again, he's not the best, but he has used eBay a lot to kind of supplement his income with the books.
Yeah.
But he's also pulled them out of people's files to sell them online or not given them in his subscription, like Hell Arisen 3.
Yeah.
Magically, nobody got them in their files.
There was a lot of like speculator and people grabbing it and just inflating the price online. So there's a part of me that's like, the comic book shops should be able to just go ahead and get that $40 profit margin for selling it online. But then if you're not giving it to the people who actually have it on their pull list, then you're losing a customer.
Yeah, it causes issues and you lose customers doing that. He doesn't do it all the time, but sometimes I have theories. I'm not going to address them on. So, Nat, did you watch Lock and Key?
No, I actually didn't. I watched. Okay, so I started it, and then my husband was like, "You can't watch it without me." So then I've been waiting, and I just haven't had time to.
By episode 4, they were so off the book. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I preferred that. I thought that a lot of the changes, I know, unpopular opinion, but I think that everyone that I know that loves the book hated the TV show. People who did not like the book or haven't read it ended up liking it. So,
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna like it that much. So it's
Well, I
just been
remember
there, like you.
I was actually shocked that you liked the book so much when I sent you that AOK box and you were like, oh, it's Lock and Key. It's an IDW book. I'll read it sometime. And then you're ready. You're like, I love this.
I
Which
did. It
I
was
wish
really
I
good.
wish you had been on the stream with us because my God, Cinia was oh my I've never heard someone come out so brutal on an artist before and has not stopped jamming this artist since. Cinia's just like, I thought the book was ugly. Everything was ugly. I was just like, really? Like I didn't hate the art that much.
Well, sometimes people, I guess, need that like visual appeal as well. So
I get like the art worked for me.
yeah,
I
it
don't know.
was alright. I think how to explain it? Like I didn't really focus on it. Like the story is what I was really interested in. I didn't really think about the art.
The only
Sometimes
thing
the art is distracting, but in this case, I don't think it was.
I think because it was labeled as horror, maybe that was the wrong label for it.
yeah, that threw me off. And I think that, like, one, because it was labeled horror, two, because, and obviously because of the title, it like kept getting
Lovecraft.
reference to Lovecraft. And I went in thinking it was going to be cosmic horror and, you know, unspeakable monsters and just dread. And I didn't get that. And I do want to say, and I know every time we bring up the artwork, I didn't hate the artwork. I just didn't think it matched the tone of the story and the serial killers. That was off for me. And I think that that's why it didn't like hit everything that I thought it was going to. But
I'm kind of excited for our next book.
what was that, Nat?
What was that?
You didn't like the art either?
No, well, it's not that I didn't like the art. I just didn't think that it matched the tone. And I think that because it came out in what, 2007, 2008. I think
It was it was right around when the school shooting started, which I started thinking about that. I was like, oh boy, like this.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I think that like the artwork didn't match the style. I think that it was maybe a style of artwork that worked for a lot of stories in that time, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but it just didn't personally. If I could dream cast an artist, I probably would have done another artist. But not to say that their artwork's bad, but I wouldn't do them for Sandman, and I didn't like them for this one. So
I know who the artist would have been.
I was just about to say Sandman. I was like, that's how I felt about Sandman.
yeah.
The artist I would have picked for it was the Preacher artist, Steve Dillon.
It's funny because you mentioned that you said that there were some similarities between the artists, which I didn't see. But if he had done
Steve Dillon's art's cleaner.
Yeah, I think that if he had done the same artwork, or if he had done the artwork for it, 100%, I think that I would have been there a little bit.
Also, I mean, the inker and the colorist could make a huge difference in that, as we talked about with Nailbiter, where the colorist made such a huge difference in that book. Ooh, this is a good question. I have some thoughts on Undiscovered Country.
I was, and then I dropped it. So
there's a lot of questions in that book I want answered, and I want them answered now.
I picked up the first couple issues, didn't read them, and then I'm like, should I? Because I think issue 5 came out this week, and then I ended up not picking it up.
There's a guy with a weird cosmonaut helmet with antlers on it, and he's got a crab claw.
Okay, why didn't someone tell me that from the beginning? Because that's my brand of
He just popped up in issue 3.
Oh,
finally.
okay, then that's okay. So, maybe I'll give
the trade might be worth picking up. There's some stuff in it that they're not explaining shit, and I was like, okay, it's Charles Soule.
Yeah, it was way too slow for me. I'm like, oh, I need more. Like, hurry up, So I just dropped it. I might pick it up later.
The funny thing was that, like, one of the characters in it had her hair colored, and it was right when you got your hair colored, and I was like, oh, that's weird. The same color. I forget what the character's name is, but it is a slow book. It is a very slow book.
Yeah.
And I just want American Vampire back. Like, I want that so bad.
Is
I love
it coming back? Did I see?
He has been talking about it coming back, like with Raphael Albuquerque, but I haven't seen it. Witches they've been talking about for 2.5 years now, and I have not seen an issue of. And I know Brad Pitt's company has picked up the option for Witches, but still, again, I haven't seen anything.
We'll see. I feel like Sandman has been in development hell for years, and every time I like get a little nugget of like, oh, it's coming out. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Oh, showrunners. Oh, no, they're not.
I am glad that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was not Morpheus. That's still that rumor or deal. I can't imagine it in my head.
I love him as an actor, but I don't see him as Morpheus at all.
Weirdly, David Tennant is the person I could totally see.
100%. 100%.
Awesome.
Especially after Jessica Jones.
Kilgrave?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I could see him playing that character because he could do over the top. He can do sullen. He'd be great. That dude who plays Lucifer on that show for Fox is fucking brilliant.
Have you guys ever seen, speaking of David Tennant, I think it's a movie called Secret Smile. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, David Tennant plays a really fucked up character who like stalks this chick, and I have a filthy thing for David Tennant, and there's a point. No. Okay, so I'm going to spoil something for you. So I have a filthy thing for David Tennant, but like there's a point in this movie where he's stalking this chick, and he's like, I love to see your smile. I know that I've come in that mouth. And I'm like, you're the doctor. Like, you're not allowed to say that. So I went into seeing him as Kilgrave, and like, so I knew that character like was going to be just like a weird, like really creepy, psychologically like get into your brain type character, and like thinking of that David Tennant from that movie. Maybe watch it, maybe don't, because it's really intense. But
that's interesting. I mean,
sorry to shock you with that.
That's up there with that Maniac movie with the kid who played Frodo.
Is that the one where
it was the remake? I can't remember his name.
That's not the movie that had that you told that had that really fucked up scene where like
no, that's The Guest. That's The Guest.
The Guest. Okay, that was
which apparently my friend said I have a man crush on that actor, which I didn't realize I did. But Dan Stevens is awesome.
Yeah,
and I will go to my grave saying that he was good on Beauty and the Beast, and the only good part of Beauty and the Beast. Dan Stevens was awesome. And in The Guest, he is doing a McConaughey. He's British, and he's awesome. And he will always be my Edward Warren if they ever cast that movie. If they do a Nailbiter. Him or Boyd Holbrook from Logan and The Predator, which The Predator is a horrible movie. Unbelievably horrible movie. It's the worst Predator movie ever made. And that's with part 2 existing.
You're going to get like tweeted at?
I don't care at this point. I really don't. After what I said earlier about my ex, I'm done.
Like, fuck it.
Like, I can't believe I said that. I hope Gambit doesn't watch that because I'm going to get a text later.
I have to go.
Okay, yeah, I saw you keep peeking over. It's like, oh, your kid's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was great having you on.
It was good being on here with you.
And sometime we'll get you on one of our book clubs.
That'd be awesome. Just let me know.
Yeah,
so
time-wise, we got to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. So,
okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Any other unpopular opinions or
Well, I have many unpopular opinions. I think Grendel is one of the most criminally underrated books that no one has read.
Which, man, I'm trying to. Is it Dark Horse?
Yes. Oh, well, it was
Yes.
Comico and then went to Dark Horse.
Got it. Okay.
But Dark Horse re-released everything as his omnibus editions. And
that was definitely one that I think that I ended up catching really, really late, and I caught a snippet of it, and that was it. But yeah.
Simplistic design for the character. The original was basically a Batman, basically ripoff, but make him a villain.
Okay.
And then they turned it on its head. They killed him early on, and the legacy kept continuing. Where this girl that he raised, her daughter became the next Grendel. Her son was killed by a kabuki vampire. And she breaks into the museum and steals his lance, his fork lance, and his mask. And she becomes the female Grendel. And she kills him. Or she thinks she kills him. And then she dies. Her boyfriend, or whatever he was, becomes the Grendel. And the police kill him, and the legacy keeps continuing.
Okay.
To where the future, it becomes a religion. And the kabuki vampire comes back, and the government that creates, they become the Grendel Khan. It's a weird storyline, but it keeps continuing, and it goes thousands of years into the future where the Grendel legacy keeps going.
Is this a current one? Is this a current title, or this is an older one, right?
It's old to new. They have a new one called Grendel. Just came out. Grendel Devil's Odyssey.
Okay. I'll have to pick that up.
But the early omnibuses, there's the Hunter Rose saga, and then there's the Christine Spar, which, in my opinion, are the two best.
And it's GRENDEL. Got it.
Yes. And like Comics on the Mind said, it does have a little bit of a Spawn look with the eyes. I'm looking through my read list here. I still have to read Irredeemable. I got it, but I haven't read it yet.
I went ahead and I was able to snag it on Comixology. So if it's available in my shop, then I'll try to.
I bought it. I bought it through Comixology so that I can read this and get ready. The first 3 pages remind me of Brightburn.
Oh, that was another underrated movie that definitely had some of those horror vibes.
It was basically Man of Steel, but if it was a fucking evil kid.
Yeah.
I love evil kid movies. I don't know why. Did you ever watch The Orphan?
Nope.
It's a little girl. Well, they think it's a little girl, but she's actually an old woman that never was able to grow. So, she's hitting on Peter Skarsgård.
Oh no.
Who they adopted her. It's a real fucked up movie.
I'll have to. I feel like normally,
I just ruined the twist for you, but wow.
That's all right. I feel like I have so much. Normally my to read, to watch, to consume list is usually pretty big, and now because of all this extra time that I have, it's grown even longer. So I'll add The Orphan to my watch list.
But on Netflix, The Invitation is a fucking phenomenal movie, and it has what I call Bobo Tom Hardy in it. Mm-hmm. It's the guy who is in. Did you see Upgrade?
No.
Did you see Prometheus?
Yes. Yep.
He was the dickhead boyfriend who was the first to turn that they torched. Okay.
Yep.
It's that actor. His wife and he had a child that died, so it ruined their marriage. So she's weirdly with this new dude and invites him over to this dinner, and she has joined a cult. And the guy who was on The Office is there, who is also one of the people accused of being the Zodiac in the Fincher Zodiac movie. He's one of the dinner guests. And it keeps kind of going in the stress of the situation of being there not only with his ex, her new boyfriend, and these weird people, by the end of it, there's a payoff that is kind of like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing,
Okay.
where you kind of have to draw your own conclusion.
Yeah. So the Invitation is that
Yes.
one. Okay,
Yes.
so there's The Orphan, The
Yes.
Invitation,
The Guest, if you can find it,
The
because
Guest.
it's not on streaming anymore.
I
You
feel
have to
like
rent
this is like a weird trilogy, like The Invitation, The Guest, The
Well,
Orphan.
the director of The Invitation was Karen Kusama, who did that weird movie. I think it was Raw, about the cannibal girl. Oh,
I've apparently got a lot to keep up with or to consume.
I'm a horror fanatic, so like that's kind of my wheelhouse of shit. Although I haven't reviewed horror movies in a while because I kept getting hit with claims from YouTube for putting
Really?
3-second
Like,
clips. Yeah. That's a huge thing. I got I did Return of the Living Dead. I got a claim from a band that wasn't even around when the movie came out. I fucking hate. I stopped doing movie reviews because of it.
Yeah, whatever algorithm they use to pick that stuff out, like.
And like I tried to fight it, going, "Hey, this band wasn't around, and there wasn't even a drop down on it to do that." So some fucking European death metal band now is getting whatever 5 cents per whatever. So I can't get ads put in to make funds off of, but they can.
Nice.
Because
they did all the work. Well,
because I don't have 1,000 followers, subscribers, and I don't have 40,000 minutes watched.
Oh, is that the like?
That's where the hey, you can get ads put in where you can make like 20 cents per. Which if you have 1 million views like some of these people do, then great.
Yeah.
And that's why I got turned off from doing movie reviews. Luckily, the comics I haven't gotten hit with yet.
Until Tom King. Like, he's like, you talk about me so much, I'm going to start charging royalties for this stuff.
He blocked me on Twitter.
Okay, so he'll never know.
I wear that as a... And that's why I said, like, when I talk good about Strange Adventures, he'll never know because I'm blocked.
Aw. I'll tweet at him. I'm not on... I don't get Twitter.
Yeah, like I said, just the people, like the guy from Philadelphia, he follows me. Some of the guys from Nailbiter follow me, and I'm good. Yeah. I don't need that pressure. And I do feel the pressure. Every time I post, I was like, oh God, what did I do? Shane Davis on Twitter follows me. Gail Simone follows me.
Oh, I love Gail Simone. She was doing the comic school this week.
Yes.
Because of the quarantine. And like, I think that my last like 3 tweets that I've done have just been retweets of something she said. And I'm like, she's goddess. She's amazing.
So this is going to be oddly personal, and if this offends anybody. So about 2009, 2010, I had a major bipolar breakdown. And I was going through a rough time, and I pretty much planned on killing myself. So I cleaned out my box at my comic store because I didn't want them getting stuck with my books. And I went home, and I was reading Birds of Prey. And this stupid throwaway line in the book about it was Blue Beetle's funeral. And they made this joke about how Barbara and him cybered. Don't know why, don't know. It just hit me in this weird spot, and I started laughing. I hadn't laughed in like a month. And weirdly, it broke me out of whatever funk I was in and stopped me from doing something stupid. And like I thanked Gail Simone for that, and she signed that page. And it's just one of those things where like something that could be a throwaway line, could be stupid, could hit you in a weird spot. And I will always have this affection for Gail Simone from just that one little thing. And again, oddly personal. I didn't want to go there, but came up, so it is what it is. There. Yeah, but Gail Simone will always have a special spot in my heart, my mind, and even if she says stuff that I don't necessarily agree with, I will never ever really go in on her. And Comics on the Mind, yes, they are remaking Candyman, and Jordan Peele's doing it. I don't know how I feel about that.
He's producing
Producing.
it, but he's not. He didn't write it or direct it. It's a female writer director, I believe.
Yeah,
I can't recall her name.
I don't either. I didn't necessarily love Get Out.
I went and saw Get Out in theaters, and I think that having that environment,
It had hype. It had hype to it, and I don't. It didn't remake cinema for me. Like they kind of like hyped it to be. Now Us, I really liked when it was a home invasion movie.
Yeah,
I loved it, and then when the twist came in, it kind of made me not like it as much.
really.
The creepiness of it left me. Whereas with these doppelgangers,
Yeah, where it ends up being more like on the line of like science fiction-y than like horror-y.
Yeah.
See, I like that because I think that like that's that blend of weird. That's what I like. I
enjoyed it more
loved
than Get Out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think Get Out, the part that fucked me up, and I was hoping he wasn't going to become like the Stan Lee of that universe, the TSA guy, because when I was watching Us, I was like, please don't let that dude show up.
Yeah.
TSA, we get shit done. It's what we fucking do. And like, I don't know why, but I was like, please don't let him be the Stan Lee of this universe.
Yeah.
See, this guy totally agrees with you.
I agree. Saw Get Out in theater, made the experience a bit better. Yeah.
I will say this though, I didn't think Jordan Peele had that movie in him because comedy guy coming in.
100%.
And I think because of the time, cinema wasn't ready for it, and I think that's why it was a new experience.
Even though it was a much better film, like I think
it was shot well.
Yeah.
I just thought by the end the story fell apart a little bit. Us, I thought was actually a better film experience for me.
There were some, like, I think some of the visual shots, like I just think in the beginning where you see all the cages of rabbits, like that, I don't know.
It's weird that there's certain directors that can invoke things in me, and Christopher Nolan's one of those guys who just seems to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Where when I see even a trailer like that Tenet trailer that they keep showing with Robert Pattinson, I'm so fucking excited to see that movie, and I don't even know what I saw in that teaser, but I want to see it.
I think that sometimes like trailers like that, I have a love-hate relationship with, because I'm like, sometimes they show the best parts in the trailer and it has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know.
But even though when they did the Dark Knight teaser where they showed the IMAX where it was that whole prison heist, not the prison heist, the bank heist with the Joker.
Yeah.
It showed you a lot, but it didn't really show you everything. So I feel like he kind of knows what he's giving out. And weirdly, there's another movie that I want a sequel to so bad, because even though I don't know it didn't make the money, Alita, Battle Angel Alita.
Yes.
Alita Battle.
I'm so upset that I did not go see Alita in theaters. Like, I watched it when it, like, bought it when it came out, and I'm like, why did I not go see this in theater? It was so good.
The teasers did a horrible job, and I think until you sit down and get past the uncanny valley of her eyes, I think that was a huge deal for people, because they're like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
But Rosa Salazar did so much heavy lifting in that movie. I have so much appreciation for what she did, and also the fact that James Cameron put 10 years into that fucking movie. You have into Alita Battle Angel to get the technology right. He's been involved with that movie for 10 fucking years.
Wow.
And he waited.
He did that with Avatar.
Yeah, he slept on it, and then he's like, I can't direct it. I'll produce it, and then gets Rodriguez in to do the directing, but with a lot of James Cameron influence into it. I I wish people had seen more of it. And like, I went in like immediately after seeing it, did a YouTube video going, look, whatever you've seen does no justice to what this movie is. It's long, but the world building, the beauty of how it was shot, even the destruction of it.
Yeah.
I want a sequel of it so bad. I just don't think it's going to happen because of how much little money it did. Other than if James Cameron would have to actually come in and direct it to probably get it made. But what, Avatar 2 and 3?
Oh, they already have like what 4 more movies planned or something like that, which we'll maybe see in 40, 50 years at this rate. But
It's been 10 years since the last one.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to think. And that was cutting edge. Where like you have to see this in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you think that Dune will be I know we've talked a lot about this, but do you think that Dune will be the same thing, like where it'll be 5-6 years before we see a second one and then the rest?
I'm honestly surprised they got part 1 of the first movie done so quickly with post-production. So I feel like we'll get the first 2 movies fairly quick.
And depending on how
I don't feel it'll do well.
I feel like, especially when it comes to movies where there's such a vast source book, like for instance, Watchmen. Like I think about who is going and seeing Watchmen in theaters. Is it people who have read the source book and they love the source material? Is it people who've never read it? So like, who are you making the movie for? Are you making it for people who've watched it or who's never watched it? Like, so Dune, like, are you making it for people like us who've read it, have, fucking tattoos?
The trailers will tell the story because Watchmen, there was a girl I was dating at the time who was not into comics at all, but she saw the trailer and was like, I need to see this.
Mm-hmm.
So then we watched the movie together and she's like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hold on, I have this book at home. And she was like, I don't want any part of it. But if Dune can make the trailers interesting enough, where I feel if you do, you have to show the sandworms. You have to show them early. I think that's what's going to get people interested. Watchmen, that's as close to as religious as we'll get to a movie made of that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it didn't have the squid monster.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of disappointed about, but whatever, they made it work.
Yeah. And then the HBO series was fantastic in my opinion. Like underrated. Brian, yay!
I can't wait for the Dune movie. I plan on doing 3 hours on it when it comes out. Like I will do a trailer reaction immediately when it comes out. And supposedly, well, I don't know now because CinemaCon's not happening.
I really hope. I think that the coronavirus and all of this global pandemic is pushing back so many. Like once again, New Mutants got pushed back.
I honestly thought at this point they were just going to drop it to Disney Plus.
Just release it video on demand. Just video on demand. Okay.
Universal's ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
They put Invisible Man up there right now. The Hunt, which The Hunt I heard is fucking great. But $20 to rent for 48 hours.
We'll see. So really quick, because I said really quick, because I said that if anyone that I know who comments on the feed, I would go ahead and recommend a comic based on the first letter of your first name. Brian, because you came on the feed, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and recommend Black Hammer because it's fantastic. If you haven't read Black Hammer, I hope you have.
You should.
It's so good.
We just did almost an hour and a half on it the other day.
Yeah, we did.
I'm trying to think of a book with a C.
It's raining squids. Hallelujah. It's
raining Cthulhu. Book with a C. I'm having trouble with that.
I'm gonna phone a friend behind me. I've got Chrononauts, Curse Words.
Curse Words wasn't bad.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I see for C right now. But that's just Image.
Yeah, Cineas wants to do a Scott Pilgrim
Ooh,
stream.
yeah. I'm sure that would definitely a Scott Pilgrim stream would definitely turn into a Snot Girl stream because I know she has a lot of love for Snot Girl too.
I am all over the place on Snot Girl. Oh my God, Comics on the Mind. You got to read Black Hammer. Oh, Black Hammer is the best broken superhero story you will read.
I know we talked about it. We talked about it earlier. Like if you have superhero fatigue and you feel like you've read every superhero story and even done the like, because I think Alan Moore is really good at writing those like fractured superheroes. I think that Black Hammer does that really well too.
He also has a book that I think is criminally underrated, Promethea.
Promethea, thank you.
Fucking, it's the greatest Wonder Woman story, not about Wonder Woman.
100%. Well, I'm looking for it behind me, but 100. And Williams III, I love his artwork, and he does a fantastic job with. I see those panels right in front of me right now.
The funny thing, there's artists who can't stand his panels because of the way his panel design works. Because
they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
I know, but it's like some artists can pull off going that way, and then there's others who can't pull off the way he does it. But he's so not experimental, but it's high art.
I think so, and I think that sometimes it has to work with the storyteller, like how we talked about this last week with Nail Biters. You have to have a team because comics are a team. Like you have your writer, you have your artist, you have your colorist, you have your letterer. So, and sometimes even like an inker or things like that. When it comes to, like, I think of Williams III artwork, it's beautiful. I feel like and I think of Batwoman too. His work on Batwoman, like I love those panels. And if I could think of like someone who's the exact opposite in a way, I think of Gerard's, who does I think of Mr. Miracle, and it's just like 9 panels.
So Comics on the Mind, Snot Girl good. Snot Girl is not for everyone. Yeah. It is a book that it's almost vapid. It's more about the whole Instagram culture we're in right now.
And like influencers, and I think it tells a good story, but I think that if you don't identify with a character like that, you're not going to get it. You're not going to enjoy it. And
it's the weird thing. I don't think a lot of guys who are into superhero books are going to get into it because it's off-brand. It's the only way I can really describe it. Leslie Hung's art is interesting. Brian Lee O'Malley is working outside of his wheelhouse basically on this with it's all about like the Instagram culture and like these the influencers are like, hey, this is cute girl, this is this girl. It's and again, there's more women who are into this series than guys. It's different. I would check out if you can get one of the free image books of it. I think that might be one of the free image books they have right now. I would check out the #1 on it, and if it doesn't get you in the first 3 minutes of it, you're done. You're never.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. I mean, I would recommend Scott Pilgrim over it anytime because that book for me is for everyone. Now, if you wanted to go into like crazy, okay, so I'm gonna go with this. 7 to Eternity by Remender and Jerome Apina goes into that weird Doctor Strange type universe shit. Even to a point where I think Ditko is being completely ripped off in one of the issues for one of the higher entities of this universe. And again, Remender's not for everyone. It's bleak. It's always there's no good things coming for anyone.
Yeah.
It's always depressing.
And because I know that I said like I have a love-hate relationship with Rick Remender, but I think that one thing he does do very well is making you care about shitty characters. And I really do love a good shitty character, and that's like 90% of the characters in his books are like deeply flawed human beings.
Low in particular,
Mm-hmm.
having hope is considered a crime.
Yeah.
Deadly Class, one of the main characters, Maria, is deeply bipolar, and I'm bipolar, so I relate to that character. She is a girl who her family was killed by the cartels, and they took her to become a cute little assassin. She uses a fan that is blades to kill people, and she always dresses as a Dia de la Muerta when she goes to kill people. I have her tattooed on my arm. I have a lot of Remender. Kind of Constantine level. They're all flawed. They all have these deep, dark histories. Like Marcus, who's the main character of Deadly Class, is one of the biggest bags of shit you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of care about him weirdly. This girl I am friends with goes, "Oh, my son Marcus." She's going to be living with me soon. Possibly with the coronavirus. So there's always something with these characters. There's always going to be a darkness to them. Now, a fun book, Scotty Young, I would always go with I Hate Fairyland.
I Hate Fairyland. What's the
Gert.
character's Gert? I love her because I think that there's, I don't know, that dynamic of like really cute, really adorable, but like
Evil.
Evil. Yeah. Just doesn't give a shit. Love it.
Scotty Young, I Hate Fairyland is one of the more fun books you will ever read. And it's glib. It's everything. Oh, Gert is awesome. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when she gets changed back to her actual age and she's been ingesting sugar for so long and she's obese. That is one of the fun books where it's almost disposable media to me.
Where you just read it and just consume it, and it is what it is. Like,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Trying to think of fun. I mean, it's not fun. It's dark as fuck. But the Afterlife with Archie series and Sabrina series.
I think that because the original like source material for Sabrina was very, very dark. And then
they changed it again.
The Netflix show came out, and it was like they did this whole reboot for it. And so I haven't read any of the like new Sabrina, but I highly recommend the original source material, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes.
And it delves into that like Satanism and just like the weird occult stuff. Like it hits the horror mark for me, which is rare in comics.
For me, Warren Ellis's Planetary is one of my favorite series I've ever read because it just picks on everything. It hits on the tropes of superhero books. It even had a whole issue just fucking with Vertigo.
That series has been recommended to me so many times, and it's just one that like I pick it up, I look at it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this person recommended it to me, and then I look at it and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah.
All 25 issues. That's all it is. 25 issues. I even have the Absolute Edition.
Oh my gosh.
And that's only part 2. I didn't get part 1 because I was stupid and didn't buy it. Invincible by Kirkman. Also another one I would recommend highly.
Another series that was highly recommended, and I think it plays with all those superhero tropes.
I think does.
The thing that like prevented me, stopped me, blocked me, whatever, from getting into it was that it's like 27, 28 something volumes long.
Yes.
And I think that I would want to go into it knowing where it ends, and 27 just feels way too
it was
too
in
big.
It was in the hundreds, if I recall. I mean, kind of like.
Or I mean,
Walking
27
Dead.
volumes, like 27 like collected volumes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was other. As far as like, if you want something like Watchmen, but in Marvel, Squadron Supreme, the very original 1986 version. where Watchmen came out and then this book came out. It's almost as glib, where the Squadron Supreme take over their Earth. They decide that they needed to install this utopia program. They brainwash all the villains that they capture. And then instead of bullets, they have these things called pacifier guns. But while it's going on, like one of the heroes, he's radiation. He finds out that his radiation has been leaking out and he gave his parents cancer and kills them.
Definitely has that like Watchmen vibe.
He freaks out after they die and another hero ends up killing him. Because he freaks out. And then there's a character called Tom Thumb who is a genius. He has brain cancer from being too close to this guy. So he has one of the reformed villains that is a female ape that is in love with him, that puts him into a coma and records his brain waves. One of the other heroes is basically the Batman of the universe, decides that he can't deal with this. So he forms his own squadron to take down the ones that are overtaking everything. And he ends up dying.
Oh.
And they were like, well, we need to disable this whole program. This is just, we can't do this. So the end kind of falls apart, but I love the whole dystopian, like, we're making the world better, but we're actually making it worse. One of the characters, called Golden Archer, he's like the Hawkeye of it. His girlfriend decides to leave him. He brainwashes her using the Utopia brainwashing thing to make her be endlessly in love with him.
Oh, no.
She basically has Black Canary's power, so I guess he's close to the Green Arrow.
Yeah.
But they're all bags of shit. Literally all of them. There's a character, Dr. Spectrum, is basically Green Lantern. So there's all these things, but weirdly, I fell in love with this series. And it's kind of like Watchmen, but not quite. And it will never be remembered like Watchmen. Yeah. Because there's something about Watchmen. I don't know what it is.
It's Alan Moore, and it's Gambit's theory that Alan Moore is immortal.
Yes. You know, I really, for my next book, want to pick DK2 and just fuck with everybody.
No. Mm-mm.
I already have my book picked for the next round.
Are we allowed to know what it is, or you want to keep it? You want to keep it a secret?
No, because I need to hear what the hell yours is next. Because Gambit threw me for a fucking loop.
I feel like it would almost be predictable. I'm not going to let you predict it right now, though, because I don't want you to pick it and then like me be like, damn it, you picked it. Okay. But anyways, I think you'll end up being like, duh, of course she would do this one.
I have a little idea.
Okay.
It's Little Bird.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh.
No.
I kept feeling Dcomicqueen coming out.
I almost wanted to do Bitch Planet because it's one of my favorites. But
it would definitely be a discussion. It would be a discussion.
We could do. I think that we talked about like we should just do a whole show on Hickman or something like that. I'd love to do a show about.
I could easily do a show on Hickman. Although if my friend comes back and is living with me and she's on Corona quarantine, I'm gonna have her upstairs. We're gonna be doing Preacher. Yeah,
that's another good one.
But her taste is more in yours and my line, so it would be she's very much an Image person.
Yeah.
Although now that I said that, she'll probably watch and be like, "All right, fuck you, asshole. I'm gonna do this."
Yeah. I'm all Marvel now, or all DC.
I can't do Marvel. I honestly, currently, Marvel is so low on my list. I feel like they have a house style now for their art, outside of the X-Men books, since Hickman took over, where it's all very loose art. It's all quick to get done. The last book that I've really enjoyed was probably Moon Knight.
Oh.
When it was Warren Ellis and Shalvey on it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because I know that
it was Burroughs and Soule
and Lemire picked it up for a minute. So, yep.
Marvel books are so low on my list right now. Where like outside of the Hickman books, it's almost a chore to read right now.
Yeah.
Amy Reeder's Amethyst. I liked.
Did you did read that one?
I did.
Okay.
I hadn't read Amethyst in a long time, so I'm not sure how I felt about it because I didn't remember a lot.
So whenever issue 1 came out of this new Amy Reader series, is terrible.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. But talking about Amethyst, so the same week that number 1 came out, they did a reprint of the original number 1, and I think that helped me a lot.
Oh, brother. I could do a quick rundown on it.
Yeah. Okay. 30 seconds, Decorum, go.
Okay. Decorum. It's uneven. You really need to follow the text in between the segments because if you don't read it, you're fucking lost. And that's pure Hickman there, where he's challenging you as a reader that you're going to spend the time to read it. Black Monday Murders trained me on this because if you don't read those interludes, you're fucked. You do not know what the fuck's going on. You really don't. And if you don't in this, because he's basically in the word bubbles, not going to tell you shit about these characters or that world.
Yeah.
You?
I know we talked a lot about the artwork. The artwork style was very jarring, and even though I liked the artwork, and I think that it works well with the stories, it felt unfinished in some ways, like halfway colored and things like that.
Interesting choice.
I'm still very, 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 I know that like the review seems negative of Decorum, but I'm 100% like, I'm going to pick up issue 2. Even if it's shitty, I'm probably going to pick up issue 3.
I'm down to first trade.
Yeah, 100%. I'll pick up all the single issues for that and probably get the trade. Because even sometimes when you've read the single issues, when you can read them all at once and just binge it, like it's different.
See, I would say Powers of X is like that. House of X, I thought, gave you a lot in between in the actual word bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe issue 2 in particular, because that Moira issue,
yeah,
that gave me so much. And if you don't read that issue, Powers of X makes no sense.
Yeah.
This one gets me. Mostly done like that color-wise. I mean, obviously, the editor wouldn't have let it go through.
Yeah. And I think that it's a style that works. The style, it reminds me a lot of Jim Mafood. Is that who I'm thinking of?
Ooh,
yeah.
The graffiti art.
I think that when it's done and it's done well, it has to feel intentional, because if it's intentional but it's not done well, it just looks like you did a shitty job. But I think that like Jim Mafood does that very well. Like I'm thinking of Girl Scouts that he did. Like,
who was the guy who did NYX? He was another graffiti artist. Shit. Fuck. Joshua
Middleton?
It was Josh Middleton back in the day. Now he's like grown a lot.
Yeah.
But those early issues of NYX, he was not good. But he was another one of those graffiti artists.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's one of the hottest cover artists you can get. There was someone else who half-assed. Damn it. I do love, though, when there's books that have artists that you have no idea about. When Opina showed up on Seven to Eternity, I had no idea about his art. I had never seen him before. Now I'm a fan. Takachini on Low, another guy who I knew nothing about. And I was
they're like, I feel like with Remender's writing, like once again, back to that, like it needs to work for the story. It needs to work for with the author 100%.
Yet 100%. Bengal on Death or Glory does not fit.
That one I never kept up with, but I know what you're talking about.
It just did not work for me. Where his
Yeah.
Bengal's art on Batgirl, I loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on Death or Glory, it doesn't work. There's certain artists like that I've noticed. Pepe Larraz on House of X. I love the art on that. I did such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, drew a Moira I didn't hate. Didn't draw her frumpy. Every Moira I've ever seen has always been drawn frumpy.
I'm gonna have to look back at that and compare that.
She always looks like a house marm.
Yeah.
Ooh, now I'm getting into artists I hate. If people, I hate Batgirl's art. When I hate Babs Tarr's art. I 100% hated that Batgirl. 100%.
Nope. I completely disagree with you.
Design I didn't mind, but the storytelling was terrible.
Nope. Disagree.
I thought there was no energy to the movement of the character in the storytelling.
Nope. Completely disagree.
Now, when Albuquerque was doing it on the new run with Hope Larson, I really liked it.
Yeah.
But Babs Tarr's art, I don't know why, it just hit me in a wrong spot, and I just could not get out of it. And also, it could have had to do with Brendan Fletcher and them telling a horrible story. After Gail Simone going to that, it was jarring.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was very, very jarring because all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, I'm taking selfies. I'm doing this." I'm just like,
I think though you have to think about like who they're trying to market it to, and I think that sometimes, or at least lately, that maybe in the same way with Snot Girl, like you may not get Snot Girl, the selfie culture and all of that, but yeah.
So when I was at Barnes and Noble, there was a young teenager that came in wanting to get the Babs, she wanted new Gail Simone stuff. So I was recommending Birds of Prey and Secret Six. She's like, Babs Tarr is the best artist. And my head swung around. I was like, listen, let's not get into this discussion. She was like, no, it's great. I was like, no, it's horrible. Like, let's just move on. And I dug in. And I was like, listen, this is Ed Bennis's Birds of Prey. You might not love the art, but the story's great. I've always been a writer person.
Yeah.
I follow writers more than artists, but the artists do help it along. And if you have two things that you're not enjoying, it makes it painful.
Yeah. I understand, because if I like this story, but I don't like the art, I'll still probably like it. I'll still probably get into it. But if it's both, it's tough.
It's very tough, because then you can't say, well, I love the story, but I hated the art. I've had many a Spider-Man tale where, J. Michael Straczynski was was doing the writing, and then it was John Romita Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, Romita Jr., why does he keep getting work? And then, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I've also stolen lines from that Straczynski run and maybe said them to my ex. Oh yeah.
It looks like it's about time for me to.
Oh yeah, we're way over. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Double. Here. Well, it's only 10 here, but still.
Yes.
It's like almost my bedtime.
Well, I don't go to bed till 5 a.m., but yeah, it's late. Anyway, thank you, Comics on the Mind, Brian, and anybody else who has been in our chat. This went way longer than I ever expected, but
as it usually does anyways.
I guess we had a lot to say.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you got some books to keep in mind and some movies, which I really didn't think we were going to go down that road, but we did.
We always do.
And follow Nat, who departed long ago, at Dcomicqueen on Instagram. And you have Jennifer at
Gin and Comics.
And Gin and Comics Show on Twitter, which she's never on.
Never on there.
Or retweeting and just not tweeting.
Yeah.
I am at Chop Comic on Twitter, at comic_chop_news on Instagram. And for our not here Gambit, he is at Gambits Inc. If you're in Florida and you want a tattoo, especially in Central Florida. He's in Cocoa Beach. Look up my boy. He does great comic tattoos. I have a lot of them, and and he also has a Dawn card set coming out that he did sketch cards for.
Beautiful.
I'm sure it is. I haven't seen any of him because he's under NDA. And I've fucking ruined that NDA several times already by shouting out this card set coming out and the Chaos Comic card set that he did. And I can't talk about the other card set he's involved with because I already got chastised about that. He also has... actually, his website you can also buy commissions from. He is also drawing your D&D character for $20 if you'd like. I believe it's his pandemic sale. He's at Gambits Inc. on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our next book for the Ink Panels Book Club will be Irredeemable by Mark Wade. I've read 3 pages of it so far, and it reminds me of Brightburn. So if you like Brightburn, you're going to be fucking in for this. Like, literally people die. It also reminded me of Magic Order, the first couple of pages.
Ooh, yep.
Again, thank you. And this was kind of an impromptu stream, mainly because Dcomicqueen missed doing streams with us. And I appreciate any time I can get her on. And if we can't get Cindy on the next live stream, I will have Cindy's Hot Take Corner because she's going to read along with us. So follow Cinia Reads too. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Jennifer. I'm sure I'll be chatting with you on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not covered in blood this time, so always a bonus. So everybody take care. Goodbye. Farewell. Avita say goodbye.
Have a good night. Stay safe.
Night. And oh yeah, wash your damn hands.
Wash your hands. 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Do the happy birthday song because that's what
do the litany of fear. Get it tattooed on your arm and just read it as you wash your hands.
They literally put that on the things in the bathroom at work to hum the happy birthday song while you wash your hands. I'm not fucking kidding. It's ridiculous. And get some toilet paper.
Stock up.
Or that's a huge deal.
90s comic books. I said 90s. I didn't.
I know. So we're really leaving now. Bye.
Okay, bye.